What's up, everybody? Welcome to Narco Cop MMA, and this is the Lambo Plays podcast, episode 109, UFC Paris, 14 fight card, a huge fight card, some really good fights. It's not even a pay-per-view, so it's probably better than some of the pay-per-views, to be honest. But yeah, Tim, UFC Paris, 14 fights, man. A lot of Lambo plays. A lot to choose from. How do you feel about this card, and how do you feel after a week off?
Rejuvenated, refreshed, ready to get back on it here with you. Excited to chop these fights up. Think there's some smash spots. We were talking about it before the show. I just think that there's some fights that are some tough Lambos to fight or to find, where I think that there's just some decisions or some like used Corolla, not even used Corolla, maybe like a used Schwinn bicycle type lines that I think are probably going to hit. But we're gonna take some big shots at some big lines and hope the saying that we always talk about, well, all you need is one to kind of cash for the night.
Yeah, all you need is one is the part of our motto, but our motto, I should say. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fights. Let's just, you know what? Let me go over to my chat. I have to always shout out my chat. Elijah Juan, what is up? Sunday morning, we'll be waking up in a new Bugatti. That would be very nice. Dixon, what is up, my friend? Azure Blue, what's up, my friend? Thank you for joining as well. Listen to the man and smash that like. Joshua Frick says, unfortunately, I have to work for the prelims, but thanks to this show, I know I'll already be cashing tickets. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you as well. Mushroom, what is up? One more sleep. Joel, I have a lot of questions for you guys tonight. I see money. I see some money too, to be honest. Let's see what happens. Billy Nicholson, I thought I was going to catch this one live, but my dog wants to go for a walk. Well, what the hell? Do you not have a phone when you're walking the dog? What's going on here? Let's see who else is in here. Match predictions. Let's effing go, my friend. Let's get those books. Jason, Tim is hitting a Lambo this week. Oh, I feel it in my marbles. John, why do I think Duncan over Oki is the dog pick of the week? We will talk about that because that's the first fight of the night. DA07, Tim and Arco are going to shake Paris to its core tonight with the Lambo Parlays. Appreciate you, my man, as well. Daz Files, what's up, my brother? God's Masterpiece, what's up as well? Double Flush, we are so due for a whisper hit. I don't have a whisper hit this week, by the way. Ted Ashbrook, all right, boys, we fading Parkinson's Perez or what? We'll talk about that as well. The Punisher, what's up, brothers? What's up, my friend? Not in the AM, bro. Narco, do you think Perez was acting in the weigh-ins? I don't think she was acting, but I think people blow that stuff up. I don't think it's a nothing burger for me. Luis, agree with Narco, better than some pay-per-views. Yes, sir. Breeze Master MMA. This is one of the boys feeling some big bags cashing. All hail Cornholio. Oh boy. Jay, what's up, my man? Let's get some timestamps. Jay, you're killing me, my man. Your first comment on every video is, where are the timestamps? The guy's so funny. Thanks for being here, my friend. Aussie Fight Fan, Timmy wearing that singlet in preparation for these French judges. He probably is. Gerardo, what's up, my friend? Thank you for joining as well. I'm SFG. Let's go. Who else is in here? Jay Watt, welcome back, fellas. Tim, Justin Fields is the perfect fit for Pittsburgh. Let's see. Bill Parsons says, most important research of the week. Thank you. Appreciate you. Timothy Johnson, what's up, my friend? Desi, lots of decisions this card. Sujit says, let's go. This is a 2K week. How about a 10K week? I got all my money on Moicano, Subhuman. What is up, my man? Good evening as well. 147 of you already in here. Let's start out, Tim. We got 14 fights. We need to get through all this mess. And the first fight of the night, it is in the lightweight division. It is the 9-1 Bolaji Oki versus the 11-2 Chris Duncan. Kick us off here.
So I think that Chris Duncan is glacially slow and has changed his style of fighting a little bit. since his 2 fights in Dana White Contender Series. He's grappling and trying to wrestle a little bit more. He doesn't seem to like get away from getting rocked in every single fight. So I think the athleticism gap is gigantic here. The speed gap is huge as well. Oki, for me, I think that the Kawamba fight is pretty shit. He wasn't prepared for him. He came in at short notice, all that stuff. But I think it could potentially be a buy low spot on Oki here in this fight, just because of how bad he fought in that Kawamba fight. I also thought he won that fight clear. I don't think it was a split. So I think he's got a huge athleticism edge in this fight. I lean, I think that it's possible that it could be a Oki decision, or a really, really like wide line. I think in this fight would be an Oki by submission at plus 1,600. I like the points more than the submission, but the points is plus 350. The sub is plus 1,600. I just can I can see the same kind of a similar thing where Duncan just gets rocked and then just puts his head in a noose and just goes straight up for it. I think Oki's crazy strong. I think he's got a guillotine in the one sub that he had. I think it was a guillotine. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was, from what I remember. And I just think that I think that it's possible that he could sub him here. So I think that there's some crazy sub lines, as Aussie just said, on this card. Just you just have a guy that when he's concussed will definitely try to shoot, I feel. And I just feel like that's just a major club and sub opportunity. So lean more Oki points plus 350, but I'll also probably stab small at the submission prop at plus 1,600.
Yeah. I like Oki quite a bit in this fight, man. I know a lot of people are like a little bit down on him after his Kawamba fight, but it's short notice for Kawamba. Yes, up a weight class. But the thing is with Kawamba, and Oki at 55 has a huge speed advantage against a lot of guys. He's a pretty fast guy on the feet with his hands, with his footwork, everything like that. He's got a big speed advantage. And with Kawamba coming up from 45, yes, he still, I think, had a speed advantage in that fight, but it was nowhere near what he would have against normal 55ers, because Kawamba is pretty fast himself. Kawamba is actually pretty athletic himself. So it kind of negated some of those, some of his best attributes, right? But dude, his striking is still on point, man. He's got really good boxing, really good striking, an insane amount of work to the body where he hurts a lot of guys to the body. He's got a very nasty left hook to the body. His jab is very good. His 1-2 down the pipe is really good. The guy is an extremely good boxer, man. And I said in my breakdown, I think this guy had to have had some kind of boxing background, because his hands look fucking fantastic. Now, doesn't really have other parts of his game, whereas, his kicking game is not really there. He doesn't have really much of a grappling. I've seen him go for takedowns and get them and get on top, but his grappling, he's not a grappler. He's not going to really shoot takedowns and stuff like that. However, his first loss against this DeFranco guy, he got absolutely grappled to death in all 3 rounds. He didn't look good. His takedown defense looked horrific. But now, as you slowly see him progressing in his MMA career, his takedown defense is starting to get a lot better. Yeah, Kawamba got him down, but it was kind of like one of those weird takedowns against the cage. After that, Kawamba never sniffed a takedown, and Balaji Oki, honestly, is showing a lot of good things when it comes to takedown. He digs underhooks right away. He sprawls away. The guy has good takedown defense. And as slow as entries as Duncan has, I honestly don't see any takedowns for him here, man. I think he's getting all of them stuffed. And then on the feet, he's flat-footed. His shots are very, very telegraphed and slow. He faced Campbell, who's a good striker. And Campbell probably has a better variety because his kicking game is better. But the hands of Oki are way better, man. They're so fast. And his shots are just coming in combos. They're extremely fast. Duncan's been hurt like an almost, I mean, even Ash moves with one arm hurt him in round 2. Like, you know, and then you see the Morales fight. He's absolutely rocked bad in round 1 against an aging Omar Morales, right? Charlie Campbell, obviously, he was out. You know, he died before he came back to life. Borishev killed him. And Torres, we saw last fight. I mean, he clubbed and subbed him, basically, right? So, or no. Did Torres club and sub him, or did he hurt Torres? He hurt Torres first.
He hurt Torres first, but Torres also, yeah, he hurt him after that.
Yeah, and then he took him. He got a body lock, took him down, and then he subbed him. Anyways, the point is, I think this is a pretty big mismatch, honestly, overall. Like the athleticism, the speed, everything belongs to Oki. The only thing I will say is, like, I know you said sub, and I was kind of looking at it like, is it possible? Because I truly believe it's going to be a KO. That's my first feeling. Like, I think it's going to be a KO. I think this guy has good power. He's got good finishing instincts. I do think he's going to finish. But if not, and I can't give the KO. It's you know, it's plus whatever, 100. What is it? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus 135. I think that's what's going to happen, guys. That's what I truly believe is going to happen in this fight. But there's a world where, you know, where Duncan survives and he's kind of like trying to cage push after he's hurt, right? Stuff like that, where I think the decision is live for Oki, and it's 350. So I pulled, you know, a little trigger on that at plus 350. I don't think it's a bad bet. You know, 3.5 to 1. For the guy that's 2 to 1 favorite, you know, against, yes, Duncan gets hurt a lot, but at the end of the day, we saw Campbell absolutely kill him in round 1 and couldn't finish him, right? So there's a world where this guy survives, gets hurt and survives. So, yeah, I like a decision here, but probably most likely outcome is a KO from Oki. Moving on, fight number 2. It is in a bantamweight division. It is the 8-1 Nora Cornolle, like Tim's name, against the 7-1 Jacqueline Cavalcanti. And for me here, I can't look at anything else at these lines and not bet this KO line on Cavalcanti. And I'll tell you why. Looking back at their first fight, okay, and that's years ago. I know people say, oh, well, that's 3 years ago. Okay, well, 3 years ago, right, Cavalcanti was 24 years old. Cornolle was 31 years old, right? Cavalcanti, who's a lot younger in her MMA career as far as age, hurt her about 4 times in that fight, man, on the feet. Literally 3 to 4 times she was hurt very bad in that fight. Then you move on to other parts of Jacqueline Cavalcanti's career, and the girl has 3 knockouts, but in every single one of these fights, the girls are hurt. Like, she hurt Melissa Croden bad in multiple rounds in that fight. She hurt Jandiroba really bad in round 3. She was landing on Josiane Nunez big shots like crazy, but Nunez is just built different. Like, it's very, very hard to finish Nunez. You know, she's just tough. I don't see the same thing from this Cornolle chick, man. She's much slower than Cavalcanti. Cavalcanti is way, way better hands. This girl says she's a Muay Thai kickboxer, but the footwork on Cavalcanti is a million times better. The only thing that's bad for Cavalcanti, in my opinion, here is short notice fight. It's a 2-week notice fight. But I absolutely think this KO line is off, man. It's plus 700. And I just saw this girl hurt her multiple times in their first fight. Why can't she do the same shit again and not finish her now? And she looks in much better shape now, Cavalcanti, than she did, you know, back then. So for me, I think this Cornolle chick is, you know, she's okay, but I don't think she's landing takedowns here. And if this fight's standing, Cavalcanti is the much better striker of the two. Way better footwork, faster. There's a world she finds a KO, man. It's plus 700. Like, I can't watch that first fight and not come to this fight and say, hey, I'm not betting plus 700 on a girl that got on the girl that hurt the other one 3 or 4 different times. By the way, Tim, your camera's out. I don't know if you know that.
Oh yeah. Coming in soon. Yeah, coming in soon.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's how I see this fight, man. I truly believe the KO is very live here. I know it's WMMA, but Cavalcanti hits hard, man, and her shots are straight. She's a really good striker, and I'm impressed with her footwork. So plus 700 Cavalcanti by KO for me here. Tim, it's yours.
I am a gringo. Are you threatening me? I am the great Cornolle. I need tippy for my bunghole. Are you threatening me?
All right. So, yeah, man, I agree with you on this one. I have 2 written down. I had Cavalcanti KO for the exact same reasons. I feel like I just feel the exact same reasons. I feel like I don't get the whole Cornholio is looking like much better since the first fight. Like, I mean, she fought Melissa Mullins. Like, what do we get from that? She got a robbery in her fight in France versus Edwards. Yeah, I don't see the massive improvements. I mean, just at all. Cavalcanti, like you said, I mean, if she hits her with any of the shots that she was hitting Nunes with, like it's definitely possible that she can knock her out. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that Nunes was taking those shots and just continually walking forward. But she's an absolute beast when it comes to durability. It seems. The only thing so the KO is plus 700, KO2 is 2,400, KO3 is 3,100. I think those are solid lines. Even though she did drop, I think she dropped her in round 1. So I do think it's possible she could get her out in round 1. But the only other bet that I would consider on this one, other than those, would be Nora by split at plus 900, just for the same reasons. Like, I just think that it's stupid that she could easily get outstruck 3-1 in this fight, just like the Nunes fight. Like the Nunes fight, I've been listening to people talk about this week. Like, dude, there's no way that fight should have been a split decision. Like, no world was that fight a split decision. And we see it all the time. And it's just like, she could be outstruck 3-1 in this fight. And just because she's walking forward and just spamming nothing and missing and hitting her on her arms, that she like at least gets 1 judge or maybe even 2 judges. So yeah, I like the KO. I like the KO 2-3 for Cavalcanti. And then I would definitely sprinkle Nora split at 9-1. I think that's kind of her win condition in this fight. And
are you threatening me? Are you threatening me? I am the great Cornholio. I need tippy for my bunghole.
All right. Cornolio has spoken. Fight number 3. It is in the flyweight division. It is the 16-6 Daniel Barez versus the 12-4 Victor Altamirano. Kick this one off.
Good fight here. I feel like Barez is. I feel like there's a couple narratives that are a little bit off in this fight. Come on now, Mbaye. You're showing your age. This is Beavis and Butthead from the 90s. Classic cartoon. Yeah, I just think this fight, there's some narratives on this fight that are, I just think, maybe a little bit off. I think that everybody's like assuming that Barez just dies and death gasses in every fight that he fights. I think he gasses clearly. I think his cardio is better than people are giving him credit for. I also don't think that Altamirano's cardio is as good as everybody's saying. So I've seen Altamirano tire out in round 2 and round 3 in fights before. Like a couple fights that I was watching, he tired out in round 2 and round 3. I'm not saying that he can't push a lot of volume and have fights where he does show good cardio, but I've seen a couple where it's not good, and he's clearly tiring out. I feel like Barez is just a better fighter all the way around. Like, I feel like he's a better striker, better jiu-jitsu, better offensive wrestling. He's just older. I mean, like, he's just older, and I think the cardio edge is slight, maybe better than slight for Altamirano. But I feel like the offensive wrestling, like I feel like Barez could get him down a lot easier. I think the takedown defense for Barez is better, and I feel like he could get takedowns in this fight. It might tire him out, but I feel like he's got more paths to win this fight, either by KO, by winning clear, 2 rounds to 1. Maybe he loses round 3. Bigger moments. I think that there's maybe a slight edge on the volume, not slight, probably a decent edge on the volume for Altamirano, but he just doesn't really hurt anybody. Like, so I just feel like, the Daniel Lacerda fights is only KO in the UFC. And like, I feel like you or me could, if we survive the first 3 minutes, could KO Daniel Lacerda. So I just don't feel like it's going to be a situation where you're going to see like Altamirano be able to capitalize on Barez maybe tiring a little bit as much as some other fighters that are more dangerous, either with their wrestling or with their striking. So I am similar to the first fight with me here. Like I feel like Barez by decision plus 210 by split is plus 800. But I also feel like it's possible that Barez could sub him. Like I feel like he's a good wrestler. He's a black belt in BJJ. Altamirano seems to be pretty tough. And I just feel like if he wrestles him, I think that if he gets him to the ground, it's possible that he could advance positions against him and or potentially get a sub here. So that's plus 1,300. But I same as the first fight with Oki, I lean decision and I lean possibly a split decision more than the sub. But I think the sub line is just like a lot of fights in this card. I think there's crazy lines and submissions all throughout the card. So yeah, Barez by points plus 210, Barez by split plus 800 would be my main lean, but I do like the 13-1 on the sub.
Yeah, I also think Barez is the best. I'm an Altamirano hater, first of all. I've always said this guy just, I don't know, he's not UFC level. I don't give a shit. He's got wins in the UFC, but like, who did he beat? Daniel Lacerda and Vinicius Salvador, right? Like who he's beat nobody. And honestly, I rewatched Candelario and I have no idea how they gave him that fight in Contender Series. That was the fight where he won, but they awarded Candelario. Dana White felt so bad that they robbed Candelario. He gave him a contract in that fight. And then you look at the Carlos Hernandez fight. He loses that fight. Tim Elliott kind of dominates him. Felipe Dos Santos last fight, yeah, they could have given it to Altamirano. I know it's close, but that was an elevation, and you never see Dos Santos that gassed in round 1. Like he was dead tired because of elevation, and I think he had a bad weight cut as well there. So now he's facing a guy in Daniel Barez who, last fight, I rewatched that and like the second time he drops Filio, Herb Dean says, "Get up." He doesn't get up. Get up. He doesn't get up. Get up. He's still on the ground. Bro, stop the fight. How many chances are you going to give a guy to get up? Like he's clearly stalling to recover, right? And if he's not going to fucking get up, well, then you got to stop the fight. He gave him, I think, 3 or 4 chances to get up, dude. He literally took like 4 or 5 seconds on the ground, just laying there. And he could have easily stopped that fight. And my point is that I think Barez hits extremely hard for 25, man. He does. He digs the body really good. He's got very good power with his hands. Now, listen, Filio's never been knocked out in his career. And he was this close to being finished, right, in that fight. And then the other thing with Barez is you see it over and over again, man. He fucking hurts guys. He hurt Carlos Hernandez pretty fucking bad before he slipped and fell on his ass in round 2. He got so excited when he hurt him, he went like to kick and he just fell right on his back, lost the round because of that. Laid on his back the whole time. So it's like Barez hits very fucking hard for this division. And I understand Altamirano has never been knocked out. I get that part, but we saw him hurt against fucking Lacerda and dropped, right? And we know Lacerda is dangerous early, but Barez is dangerous early too. And he hits probably harder than Lacerda does. So it's like, okay, he got fucking hurt there pretty damn bad and dropped. Salvador landed on him a decent amount of times. You know what I'm saying? It's like this guy can definitely anybody can get knocked out. And I think Barez hits extremely hard for 125. So I'm going with, because there's an inkling in me that thinks he can also sub, I'm going with round 1 Barez at 1,000 and round 2 Barez at 1,500. But I'm also playing the KO 1 and KO 2. It's 1,500 and 2,100. I just think those are huge lines for a guy that's as dangerous as this guy is, man. This guy is extremely dangerous. He's going to have a huge speed advantage. He's the much better striker overall. What does Altamirano offer outside of his fucking janky kicks in weird style? Nothing else, bro. Like, he really doesn't. So maybe he outpaces this guy, but I've seen Altamirano very tired. Like Salvador fight, extremely tired. Which other fight? Oh, the Hernandez fight, extremely tired in round 3. So, it's not like this guy can't get tired. So for me, it's round 1, round 2 on Perez. I think that's when he's most dangerous. That's when he has the most power. But yeah, I kind of feel like the wrong guy's favorite here. I don't know why Altamirano's the favorite out of the two. Fight number 4, it is in the bantamweight division. It is the 10-2 Aileen Perez versus the 9-1 Dara Zhalgasovna. I will kick this one off. Another KO for me, man. I like Perez by KO at plus 550 here. I just think there is a significant grappling edge here for me when I watch tape. Like, I know people, shit talk Aileen Perez and, she missed weight by half a pound. She looked rough. Yeah, bro, but looking rough doesn't matter when you miss weight like that. If she's not injured or sick, I really don't care that she looked rough. You recover. She's going to be fine. People totally blow that up. She's outsized. She was outsized against Jocelyn Edwards. She was outsized against a lot of girls. She still manages to get them down. She has pretty fucking good body lock takedowns. When she gets you up against the fence, you're going down most of the time. If she has a body lock, she's going to trip you down. And let me tell you, I don't care how big Dara is, her takedown defense sucks. Absolutely awful takedown defense from this chick. And once she's on bottom, it's even worse. It gets even worse. Like, she has no idea what the fuck to do when she's on bottom. She absolutely got smashed by Mullins, which is a pretty bad look after she hurt Mullins on the feet in that fight. And then the more bearish look for me is Montserrat Rendon, because I don't think Montserrat Rendon has any type of fucking wrestling, right? She has some jiu-jitsu in her, but her wrestling is awful. And how many takedowns she get on this chick? 4? Let me see. I got to see. 3. Three fucking takedowns from Rendon. And if Rendon can do that to her, then I can guarantee you Aileen Perez can do it to her. But the difference between Rendon and Aileen Perez is Aileen Perez passes to mount, and we already saw what happened to this girl when the other girl passes to mount. Like, she got killed. So I am pretty confident, honestly, in Aileen Perez this week. And I know it's juice, but I don't think this Dara chick has any sort of fucking takedown defense or grappling. So for me, it's Aileen Perez via ground and pound plus 550. I think it's a knockout on the ground. Yeah, that's how I see this fight. Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Also, I would say on the Rendon fight, that was just a gigantic red flag. Is like, dude, she looks like she's fighting in reverse. Like, they're both super slow, but Rendon is like just absolutely stuck in mud slow, like just absolutely just so fucking slow. And she was, you should have, like, the face, if you looked at the damage at the end of the fight, and you're not saying like, I didn't watch the fight, you're just saying like, which one of these fighters won the fight, and you just look at their face, you'd be like, oh, the brunette. like there was tons of damage on Daria in that fight, and she was getting hit like a decent amount by Rendon, like standing. So I think that I just don't think that it's similar to like Omar C, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. It's like, how long does Aileen Perez wait to shoot? Like, she doesn't go a minute without shooting a takedown or cage pushing to get a takedown. Like, she's not going to stand with this chick at all. So, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you in this one. I think that there's a couple of plays that are in this one that are like solid. it has to be said that Perez seems to gas in every fight. I mean, like she seems to be in round 3, like death gassing. And if Pudilova knew how to sink in a rear naked choke, that would have been like a just gigantic cash for me in that day. So I'm still looking to fade Perez, and definitely looking to fade Perez in round 3 versus a better fighter. I feel like Perez inside the distance plus 390. The round 1 is 900, round 2 is 1400. The reason I'd say round 1 and round 2 is like the sub is pretty crazy line as well, like plus 1200. I do lean that it's a KO like you, but I feel like I just feel like one of these moments, like one of these times these girls are just going to give up their back and she's going to take a sub. Like she hasn't done it very often. I don't think she's got really great jiu-jitsu, but she seems to get mount in like almost all of her fights. So we just know how that goes. Like if you're sitting on mount and you're in that position, it's really up to you to what you want to do. And it's also up to your opponent if they want to give up your back or give up their back. And then, do you want to just flatten them out and pound them out, or do you want to just take their neck? So I just think inside the distance is my basic play, plus 390. I lean it's round 1 or round 2. Those are 9 and 14 to 1. If you want to get super, super greasy, the lines on sub 1, sub 2 are just gigantic. So I'm not going to go that way, but I think that it is possibly live, which is why I'm doing the ITD. Like I said, in round 3, Daria is plus 2,900 or 2,600. I just think that she could be down 2 rounds to 0. And yeah, I agree. It's the badonkadonk. She's got a lot to carry. I do think that Daria could be down 2-0 and know that she's down 2-0. And then if like we know, if Perez doesn't get her down, or maybe Daria can reverse or something stupid. I doubt that she can reverse. She'd have to keep it on the feet. But I think 2,600 for her round 3 is kind of what I expected. But I'm going with ITD in round 1, round 2 for Perez.
All right, let's move on. Fight number 5. It is in the bantamweight division. It is the 20-4 Taylor Lapilus versus the 16-7 Vince Morales on his second stint in the UFC. Tim, this one's yours.
Another fight where this is another one. It's kind of similar to the Cavalcanti, also similar to the Perez. I think they probably win decisions. This is another one that's kind of tough to me. That's like I feel like the Lapilus decision prop is, he says Lapilus free square. I think the decision prop is disgusting at minus 150. I do think 60% is probably accurate on that. It might be even like a little bit more, like 65%. 2 out of 3 of their fights, maybe even 7 out of 10. So I do think that it's kind of accurate, but just a terrible, terrible line. Vince Morales is super tough. Lapilus has 1 KO as a body kick. Seems to just stay at range. I feel like Morales is a striker turned grappler now. When he was in the UFC in the beginning, he wasn't really grappling much, but in the regional scene, the last few fights, he's been grappling everybody and going for front chokes. To me, I feel like the only Lambo that I'd be willing to take a shot on would be round 2, round 3, Lapilus, 13-1, 18-1. But it's back to the sub prop again. It's back to the guy who might be sticking his neck in a bad position, trying to get takedowns and trying to get Lapilus down to the ground like Von Fiem did. But I just don't think that – I think Lapilus has 6 submissions. They were all early in his career, but he has more finishes by submission than he does by KO. So to me, I feel like he's got, 3 guillotines. It's just a situation where I don't think he's going to try to wrestle or grapple himself. He's just going to stay at range, but bad takedown attempt, cage push, try to hold him. Guillotine's there. Darce is there. All these front chokes are there. He obviously knows how to do it. So yeah, round 2, round 3, plus 1,300, plus 1,800. Sub is plus 1,200. Those are not bad. Again, the sub 2, sub 3 are just ridiculous lines.
Yeah. I went back and forth on this one. I'm like, okay, well, what is the most likely outcome? I do think, most likely outcome is probably, Lapilus decision, because, both guys are pretty damn tough. Morales is tough, but so is Lapilus. Lapilus has never been finished. But it's like hard for me to pick anything outside of one thing. There's one thing here that only would make sense to me to bet at the current prices, and quite honestly, that's Morales' decision. It's 5-1, and Lapilus does tend to fight close, man. Like, we saw it against Logren. We saw it, against his two opponents ago. He got dominated, but even in the regional scenes, like in the Josh Hill fight, very, very close fight again. And what I've seen from Morales, he's gonna have first of all, Morales is gonna be much slower. But what I've seen from him lately in his tape is he's a lot more aggressive than he used to be in the UFC. That's the one thing that has stuck out to me. Yes, he still looks kind of slow with his striking. He's not the best striker, but his volume has been upped and his aggression has been upped. Even in the Ryzen fight, even in all of his recent fights, he's been pretty on the front foot, coming forward, being very aggressive. Normally, that's not the Morales that we know, like from the UFC. Like, look at this guy's UFC numbers, right? It's kind of underwhelming, like 64 strikes, 74 strikes, 54 strikes, 27. He's not a high volume guy, but he has kind of been looking to pump it up. First of all, he's in better shape. I'll tell you that. He's added muscle. He looks like he's in better shape now. And he's he's probably going to try to pressure Lapilus. The problem is his footwork is not very good. And then his striking is very slow. Like, his hands are slow. Lapilus is so much faster. So that's the issue. Like, do I think this is a good play? No. Do I think Morales is going to win the decision? I don't think so. At 5-1, I frankly don't think so. But what else here looks like a play to me? Like, is he going to finish Lapilus? I highly doubt it. Is the only other thing is maybe Lapilus finds a sub, at 12-1. But like, even that, it's like, it's kind of hard to get into, because look at this guy's last sub. It's ages ago, guys. Like, this
beginning of his career, yeah. It's the beginning of his career. He was just killing.
If his last sub is 10 years ago, and now you're telling me at the UFC level, this guy's going to get a sub? I just don't see it either, So it's like, it's hard for me. This fight, if you ask me the honest truth, I would completely pass on all props here. I wouldn't play anything. That's my honest to God truth. I don't want to play a single prop on this fight because I think they suck. So, yeah, I'll give you the rightful thing, and that's probably pass here. I don't like anything. Moving on, fight number 6. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 22-4-1 Ludovic Klein versus the 12-4 Roosevelt Roberts, and I got my whisper bet of the week. And the whisper bet of the week is Roosevelt Roberts by KO at plus 4,000 on Hard Rock. Go get it, because there's nothing near that line. Fucking 40-1 on a KO from a guy has very good hands. Dude, let me tell you guys something. First of all, the money line's ridiculous. That's a Lambo by itself at 730. Plus 730 on Roosevelt Roberts is already a Lambo. I'm telling you guys. Roosevelt Roberts' main flaw is his takedown defense and his sub defense, right? Those are his two main problems. Now, when we look at his opponent, what is his opponent? Let's be honest. Ludovic Klein's a striker at heart. Does he get takedowns in his fight? Sure, he mixes in the takedowns, but he's not a fucking grappler. Like, a guy's a striker, right? There's a couple of things I like for Roberts in what I saw from tape. One is the Troiano fight, right? Troiano's kind of long for the division, a boxer. Guess what? Troiano was jabbing the hell out of fucking Ludovic Klein in the fight. You know what I got to tell you guys? Roosevelt Roberts probably has one of the fucking best jabs in the UFC. Dude, his jab is nasty, man. I'm telling you guys, from a striking perspective, that jab of his is very fast, very long, and very good. Look at what it did. The jab alone busted fucking Bahamondes' face up bad. Really bad, right? Can he knock Klein out? Probably not. I mean, Klein's tough. It's not easy. I've seen him hurt. Round 3, go back and watch round 3 against Pillow Fist Mike Troiano. He hurt him. Mike Troiano hurt him bad in round 3. Okay, and Troiano's known as Pillow Fist. He doesn't have power. I think Roosevelt Roberts does have power. He can crack, and he has those long fucking limbs, long arms. The problem is he can get taken down, and is he gonna look to get back up like he was in the Hubbard fight? Right, in the Hubbard fight, he was taken down, boom, he's getting right back up. He wasn't fucking around trying to stay on the ground, right? But how do we get to minus 1,200 Ludovic Klein, man? Like, why? This guy's a minus 1,200 fighter? You guys fucking kidding me? This guy, to me, is not a minus 1,200 fighter. Like, when you fucking lose to Mike Troiano, okay, and you go to life and death, and this is the key point, life and death with Devontae Smith, okay, you are not a fucking 1,200. Yeah, he's been on a run lately. Oh, he beat Bahamondes. He looked good. He dropped Bahamondes round 1. Then he beat the punching bag of AJ Cunningham. And then, obviously, he dominated Thiago Moises. But, like, this guy's not a minus 1,200 fighter, man. He just isn't. So, for me, it's like, it's Roberts, for me, this line's too wide, man. And then plus 4,000 on the KO, 40-1. I don't know. Is it like a fucking 0% chance this guy gets a KO? It's not MMA and it's not the lightweight division anymore. I don't know. I took a shot here. I know Paul says waste of money. A lot of people say waste of money. And then, shit happens. It's MMA. And then if you think it's a waste of money, you should lay the price on minus 1,200 because it's that easy. Lay that price, Paul. Go get it. It's free money. Free money on your boy Ludovic Klein. He might, he's gonna probably win, but this line is not accurate, bro. The line's not accurate. He is not a much better. I disagree with you. He's a much better kicker. He's not a much better boxer. I can guarantee you. I will put my life on it that Roberts is a much better boxer. But yes, Ludovic Klein is a much better kicker. I agree with you, but he's not a much better boxer. That's for damn sure. I'll give him the kicking. He's got very, very good kicking. He's definitely stronger, for sure. But like this line's ridiculous, man. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't get the line. I think it's the thing is I look at the line against the last guy he fought, and it was Rebecki. Rebecki's a much harder matchup because of the grappling, bro. Rebecki's a demon on the ground with the wrestling. That's not what Klein is, man. He's just not a demon on the ground. It's not like he has high-level jiu-jitsu or something. So, I don't know, man. I took a poke. I mean, it's a poke at plus 730. I just don't think the line's right. That's all. What do you have here, Tim?
I mean, I couldn't agree more on the money line being just absolutely fucked. Like there's just no way that you can tell me that Ludovic Klein is minus 900 or minus 700 versus anybody. Like at the AJ Cunningham, it's like still minus 500. Like maybe him he's minus 700, but like, let me read off the Ludovic Klein striking totals his last bunch of fights: 56, 60, 56, 47, 50, 60, 42, 45. Like, do you want to put minus 1,200 on a guy that's highest strike total is 60? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, there's no way that he could, like, it's not possible that he could get, again, outstruck and, like, have to have much, much bigger moments in the fight. He's 5'6", or he's 5'7", and Roberts is 6'2", this is the one thing I'll say that's pretty crazy about the measurables. He's 5'7", but he's got a 72.5-inch reach. So he's like literally a knuckle dragger. Like his arms are pretty much like dragging his knuckles on the ground. So that's funny to me. He only has a half of an inch disadvantage with reach. But I mean, getting head kicks, I said the same thing against Bahamondes, like getting head kicks against a guy who's like legit 7 inches taller than you isn't going to be easy. He'll need a ladder to get head kicks against him. So can he attack his legs? For sure. Can he attack his body? For sure. Do I think Klein wins? Yes. Klein, who has Klein been finishing in the UFC? The likes of like AJ Cunningham, like these guys that are just busters. The short notice kind of scares me a little bit on my prop for Klein here and then general, but I'm going Klein by decision plus 210. Used Corolla. Ends by split is 9-1. Roosevelt Roberts by split is 28-1. It's the same thing. It's like the same mindset of what you're saying. Like, could he jab him up, stay at range, be able to keep 2 rounds close, out volume him maybe 1.5-1, and stay away from the big shots and hope that he doesn't grapple him? Like, those are all the possibilities of him, of this being a closer fight than it's lined. So yeah, I lean Klein by decision at 2-1, basically plus 210. But I wouldn't be shocked if this is like a close striking fight, or closer than it should be. Definitely closer than it's lined. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
I forgot to mention, he's doing his camp at Kill Cliff. Like, he's getting better looks for sure. Roosevelt Roberts. It seems like he's taking his career a lot more serious after Tough. They gave him a short notice against a terrible matchup in Rebecca. Listen, one thing somebody mentioned here, it's a very, very accurate thing. Like, yes, he's got the long frame. He's there to be kicked. And out of the southpaw stance, the back leg for Klein is really nasty. His body kick is really, really hard and strong. And I saw Bahamondes actually hurt Roberts to the body with a kick. So that's a very, very, very viable thing there, where he can get hurt to the body, especially because Klein kicks absolutely, like a truck. So I do think that's a possibility. In general speaking, I just think the line's wide. That's all. I just don't think a guy like, Klein is minus 1,200 against a guy, to me, that, Roberts, to me, just is not a bum, man. Like, he's a decent MMA fighter. He's not a bum. And, he uses his size pretty damn well. His jab. I like that. I like seeing that from a guy that's long like him, man. So, yeah, I mean, Klein should win here, but 1,200 to me is not right. Let's move on. Fight number 7. It is in the light heavyweight division. It is 10-0 Omar Sy versus the 15-5-1 Dawoon Jung. Tim, this one's yours.
Be interesting what they would line this fight like 2 years ago. Like, put C at where he's at right now, and then put Jung at 2 years ago. I think that this line would be way, way closer. Obviously, that's not the case, and things have changed tremendously for Dawoon Jung. He seems to be a shell of himself. Like, he seems to have lost his confidence tremendously. So, and I also feel like I said this with Aline Perez. Like, I don't think that C is going to wait a minute to try to shoot takedowns and try to grapple for the entire fight. He just doesn't stand with anybody. So it's just, what happens, and can Jung defend takedowns? I don't like, you say this all the time. It's like, he's a jack of all trades and a master of none. Like, can he strike? Yeah. Can he grapple? Yeah. Is he really good at either one? Nope. Aussie just said it. If Alberg can choke you out, also if Roque Martinez can choke you out, really bad looks, really, really bad looks. And this is going to be the strength of Omar Sy. So I feel like it might take a round to get out of some trouble or be able to defend for a round. But yeah, I like round 2, round 3 for C, plus 400, plus 850. Could be either one. Would lean it would be sub, but I think he could also flatten him out, ground and pound him. But I would lean that it's going to be a sub. If you wanted to get greasy on sub 2, sub 3, it's like 600 and 1200, something like that. This is another one of those fights, though, that I just it kind of has pissed us off in taking some shots in these sub props or these, late round props with like Petrosky and some of these fighters, or like Gunnar Nelson versus Takashi Sato, where it's just like maybe Jung just is going to sit there and guard and just like lose and know he's going to lose. And we sit there and we scream at the TV. So I don't think it's bad on points for C either at plus 260, but I lean that he's going to finish him later in the fight.
Yeah, man, I went back and forth on this one, but there's one fight that stuck in my mind that made me say, you know what? I can not play this prop. And the fight is the fight for Omar Sy versus Pauline Bagi 2 years ago. If you guys didn't watch that, it's a pretty eye-opening fight, man. This Pauline Bagi guy, I know him from Aries. I've watched almost probably all of his fights. He's a very long guy. He's a striker, kickboxer, whatever you want to call him, but he has pretty bad takedown defense and very, very bad like jiu-jitsu and stuff. Like, he's just not a ground guy, right? He's a stand-up guy. And he's out grappling Omar Sy in this fight in round 1, in round 2. And I'm like, what the fuck am I watching here? How is this guy getting on top of Omar Sy over and over, getting reversed and shit? And I'm like, against a fucking kickboxer. And I'm like, okay, this is a very, very bad look. He ends up winning the fight, whatever. It's kind of a close fight, to be honest. Round 3, he looks extremely spent and tired, man. Like, very, very tired. And now, they give him this Toko Tukos guy on short notice, and he absolutely just rolls over him. He's not a UFC level fighter. Dawoon Jung has been tested in the UFC, right? Has he always done well? No, lately he hasn't obviously done really good, but he does have some okay wins in the UFC. Nothing special, like I would say. Like, the Kennedy win is probably his best win. But he also hasn't looked great in some of these fights. But I do think his takedown defense is okay, man. I honestly do. I don't think it's bad takedown defense. I think it's pretty damn good. I've seen him grapple himself, which when I watched that Bagi fight, that's what's in my mind. Like, what if Dawoon Jung, starts grappling and gets this guy down? Now what happens? Because if Bagi is doing that, like, I'm pretty sure Jung is better in the grappling than Bagi is. And so the prop that I get to is the fact that I don't think this Omar Sy guy has good cardio. I'm not sold on his cardio whatsoever. And if there's a lot of back and forth, I think he's going to get tired here. And I'm itching to play these Jung 2-3 props, man. It's 2,400 and 3,100. They're really, really big lines. And when you look at historically Dawoon Jung, he's got a shit ton of late finishes, man. Round 3, round 2, round 2, round 2, round 2, round 3, round 3. I mean, how many more late finishes do you want from a guy, right? He's got a shit ton of them. And now we get an unproven guy that did not look fucking good, like I said, in the fight that got extended. I'm going to take a shot, man, on the more proven guy. Yes, I think Omar Sy has very good entries. I think his athleticism is going to be a big thing here. I think he's the much faster guy. But what happens when he gets stuffed and it's not that easy? And what happens when he gets counter grappled and he gets put on his back? Then what happens, right? So I'm taking a shot. Dawoon Jung, man, 2,400, 3,100. I think this is probably the best grappler he's ever faced in his career, like, as far as just in general. And I don't think Dawoon Jung is all that good, but he's just better. He's UFC level, right? Yeah. I don't see I don't see how you can't play these lines, just thinking that Omar C is kind of a question mark still, right? He rolls over Toko Tukos. Who fucking cares? I think Down Jung would roll over him too. Like, doesn't matter. That's like not a UFC level fighter on short notice, So, yeah, I think, like I said, I think Omar C's shots are really good. I think they're fast. I think he has pretty good jiu-jitsu and stuff. Like, he gets to the back, puts hooks, and he does the right things. I just think he kind of, if they are not coming easy, I think he gasses, in my opinion. So, yeah, round 2, round 3 here for Daun Jung. Moving on, fight number 8. It is in the light heavyweight division. It is the 17-10-1 Ian Cutelaba, the Hawk, versus the 14-3 newcomer Ivan Urslan. And I will kick this one off. Ivan No Chin Urslan. I gave him a nickname because he doesn't look like he has a chin, man. He's been in 2 different fights. He got dropped with a jab. He got wobbled with a jab another time. He got dropped he's probably been dropped 4 or 5 or 6 times. He's obviously been knocked out. The guy just doesn't seem to have a really good chin. And then you look on the other hand, and you got a guy in Ian Cutelaba who's just the absolute maniac. Comes out like a ball out of hell. The only thing with Urslan's, I don't know from tape what his takedown defense looks like. I don't know what his ground game looks like when he's on bottom. There's nothing on tape that I could find that could tell me what this guy would look like if he gets taken down, or can he stuff actual like shots and takedowns, right? The one thing I will say is I do think he's the much better striker. He's got better hands by a lot. I think he has a shit ton of power, especially in his left hook. His left hook is very, very powerful. And so as I look at this fight, I know one thing is for sure. I know Urslan has better cardio than I have no doubts in my mind. I've seen him go 5 rounds. I've seen him swinging hard in the 5th round, trying to get a KO. I definitely think he has the much better cardio. I do believe this fight probably ends in round 1. So one of them is going to get knocked out. But if it extends, it's going to be all Urslan, in my opinion. And I'm going to take a shot on KO2, KO3 on him, man. I know he's never had, I believe, a KO2 or 3. I don't think he's ever had one. But there's always a first. And Ian Cutelaba, as gassy as he is. And I know last fight went to decision, but that was a product of Felipe Lin's grappling. That was a product of Felipe Lin's kicking his leg. Not really going to war, Felipe Lin's came and had a game plan. If you watch Urslan, he just comes in and he's just looking to land big shots, right? So I think these guys, it's a kind of a clash, and I think somebody gets killed early. But if not, Urslan poke on the KO2 850 and KO3 1700 for me. What do you got here, Tim?
Yeah, good breakdown. I think Urslan's takedown. I saw him get taken down in a couple of fights, and he tries to work back up. Like, I don't think his takedown defense is terrible, and he did work his way. He was trying to work his way back up both times that he was taken down. So I don't think it's terrible. I also think that Cutelaba is not like, when he gets on top of guys, except for the Devin Clark fight, when he gets on top of guys, usually he's like trying to posture up and throw huge bombs that guys can get up against him. So like, I don't think he's like always just trying to lay and hold position and like get a half guard and be able to hold guys down. He's like trying to rain shots and finish people a lot of times. Like I said, the exception to that was the Devin Clark fight. But the other thing that I think is interesting about this fight is I feel like Cutelaba is not fighting, like, he's not even really fighting anymore. Like, he's kind of just like going out there, maybe getting paychecks. He's moved back to his home country. The Philippe Lin's fight, he was just perfectly happy with losing. Like, he wasn't like, all right, I'm going balls to the wall. Like, he seems like he's David Banner and no longer the Hulk. Like he can't go back into like he can't get out of that. He just can't turn green anymore. The only time he turns greens is at the face-off, like on Friday nights. So Yeah, I just feel like I was thinking like Urslan 2-3, like you were, but then I kept thinking like there's been some fights with Urslan where he's not getting these guys out and he's lasting a while, and I just feel like I don't know. I feel like Calaba is more suspect to guys that can sub him, like, and like the KOs that he's taken. Like one of them was a bullshit, like judge didn't realize he was fucking around. The other was Ankalaev, and I just feel like he fought him the second time. Ankalaev finally got him out of there. Like he's been knocked out realistically twice instead of, and so to me, it's just like, I don't know, maybe there's a world where Urslan can just stay at range, try to worry about getting taken down, have the clear volume edge, have the clear striking edge, and you're hanging 850 on Urslan by decision. So we saw it last fight with Philippe Lins. Like I just feel like there's possibility that this could be Calaba not fighting and not really going into exchanging and just being tired and maybe trying to cage push a little bit. Maybe he even gets him down in one round, and then you just get the other 2 rounds for Urslan. So I was really leaning the 2-3 at first, like with you were. I really was, but then I'm like, I don't know. There's something in the back of my head that just says like, dude, I think this might go. So,
all right. Fight number 9. It is in the lightweight division. It is the 15-4 for Resum versus the 11-4-1 Matt Frivola. This one's yours, Tim.
So I think this is a really good matchup. Same thing with Frivola with 3-4 years ago. There's a few questions like 3-4 years ago, I'd be betting Frivola huge here. If I had somebody that was in the future and they're like, I'm not going to tell you the result, but I'm going to tell you that Matt's going to shoot 10 takedowns in this fight and get some. I would again be max betting this fight. Like the problem is that he just hasn't done that. Like in fights where you're just telling yourself like, dude, this is a clear grapple, advantage for you, grappling advantage and edge for you. What are you doing? And he's like, I'm going to stand and bang. Like I'm going to put a thing on Twitter and we're going to have everybody vote what they want me to do. And that's what I'm going to do. It's like, dude, just grapple. Like, what are you doing? Like you have such a huge edge in a lot of these fights. And he goes like just entertainment mode. I don't know his game plan, but my breakdown is going to be basically assuming that he's going to grapple in this fight. If he doesn't, then I think he loses a fair share minus a just gigantic bonk. But I think it's going to be hard for him to get into range with Ziem. Ziem versus Puelles, just huge red flags. Ziem versus everybody. I mean, like I don't give a shit about the Figlak fight. Like Figlak sucks. He did well grappling in that fight. Like he was instantly subbed by Terrence McKinney. We had a bet on that one by sub, huge line. He gave up on that. That choke wasn't really even in, and he gave up and tapped instantly. He's been submitted by worse grapplers, way worse grapplers than Matt Frivola. Matt could do 2 things in this fight. I think Matt could takedowns, control, takedown, just repeat, rinse, takedown, control, get up, take you down again, or he could advance position and get a sub. So decision plus 280, sub 700. Matt usually when he gets his subs, they're early, they're not late. So his sub 1 is 16-1, his sub 2 is 24-1. I think both of those. I think the sub line is really wide for what he might do, obviously. And then the decision prop if he wrestles at almost 3-1 is I think really good as well.
Yeah, good breakdown. Frivola. Yeah, I'm kind of perplexed that he was the dog here after doing like extensive tape on this fight. Like, his losses, outside of Terrence McKinney, his recent losses are to 2 of the best guys, Benoit Saint-Denis and Armin Sarukian. I don't really drop him down for those losses. And especially the BSD fight, he was doing well early, man. He was counter grappling. He was wrestling himself, getting takedowns. And he just kind of did a stupid thing running away with his hands down, got kicked right in the, ate a shin to the face, a mistake. But you know, you look at the Sarukian fight, and I was actually really impressed in round one how he was stuffing takedowns. He was doing really good in the grappling against Sarukian. And you could tell the guy has very, very good wrestling, man. Some of these takedowns and some of these fights, I forgot which fight it was. He did a beautiful lateral drop. It might have been against Jalen Turner. Really good lateral drop takedown. You know, that's another thing. He beat Jalen Turner, you know, in a close fight where, you know, that's a very good win. And, you know, beating Dober is a pretty damn good win. And to me, Perez Ziem is a step down from these guys, man. I mean, you're going from Judober, Saint Denis, and Sarukian, you know, guys like that to Perez Ziem. Why is he a dog to this guy? You know, he's got a grappling edge for sure. He's got a wrestling edge. I mean, for sure. I think he has the much more power in his hands. He actually has legit one-punch knockout power, in my opinion. He swings. His thing is technically he's terrible. He's just not a good technical striker. But what I like about his striking is the way he moves his legs. They're out of position when he's throwing. But when you're on the other end, you don't expect to see those punches coming from those angles, and he lands them, and he hurts people when he lands them. You know, he landed a janky one against fucking against Dober and absolutely fucking dropped him. Dober never even seen it coming, you know. The guy does throw hard. He has very big power when he lands. It's just that he's not very technical. But like I said, when you're awkward like that and someone's trying to defend an awkward guy like that, you just don't see punches coming from those angles because they just normally you're not supposed to throw them like that. And so he lands. So the other thing I like about Frivola, and this made sense to me, I kind of said it to other people, he's very bouncy. He's very, very bouncy, like on his feet. He's jumping around. You know who he does it exactly like? Merab. He's bouncing around like Merab, and they're from the same camp, right? They literally do the same shit. He's bouncing, and then he explodes into a punch or he explodes into a takedown. But that's where it's good because you don't know when his takedowns are coming. That's why look at his percentage. His takedown percentage is like 40%. That's really fucking high. You know what I'm saying? He's landing 4 out of 10 takedowns, this guy, because of that. Because of the fact that you don't know when this guy's going to shoot on you. And he has good wrestling. He has really good wrestling. So when I look at Ziem, do I think he's a very good striker? I do think he's a good striker. You know, he's good. He uses his length well. He's very cautious defensively, you know. But he lacks the takedown defense, in my opinion. When Claudio Puelles takes you down, you know, multiple times.
6 times.
7 times. 7 takedowns from Claudio Puelles, who has 0 wrestling, guys. The guy has no wrestling. And then the more I think about that fight, the worse look it gets from the sense that Perez Ziem in that fight had one thing to worry about, right? And it was takedowns. And he still got taken down 7 times. In this fight, you cannot just worry about takedowns. Like, the guy across from you clearly hits very hard. Like, you cannot just worry about takedowns, right? So I kind of like Frivola KO here, man. I think he's going to possibly catch Ziem in one of these. And not only that, like, it could also be ground and pound. Like, Frivola has nasty ground and pound when he gets to the top. He's trying to punch a hole through your face when he's on top. You know, he's not trying to pitter-patter you. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like Frivola should be favored here. I don't – his defense hold up weird. Yeah, but – yeah, I know it held up versus you're talking about the English guy. But, man, English wrestling is no good, bro. Like, that guy has no – and honestly, in that fight, what caught my eye is Perez Ziem was way stronger than that dude. I think you're referring to Figlak. He was way stronger than Figlak, man. Way stronger. So, yeah. But Malarkey did not look good, buddy. Malarkey took him down a number of times, and Malarkey also doesn't have great wrestling. I think Malarkey took him down a shit ton of times in that fight. So that wasn't a good look. But the Figlak fight, he just looks stronger than Figlak did.
Malarkey went 5 of 11.
Yeah, that's not doing good. If you're almost 50% in takedowns against Malarkey, that's very bad takedown defense.
Six minutes of control too.
Yeah, that's not good. That's a bad look for him. I truly don't think his takedown defense. Like if here's the thing, if what's his name gets you in a body lock, he's taking you for a ride. He's much stronger than Figlak. Like Fivola's way stronger than Figlak. He's gonna take him for a ride. So that's the thing. I think there's a strength edge here for Fola as well. So yeah. No, he didn't reverse. He took him down 5 times, man. It's in the stats.
He would be
sure. I watched the fight.
Frivola would do dirty things grappling even to Jamie McCarthy. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's just what I saw on tape. And I think the wrong guy's favorite here, to be honest. I do think that Frivola should be the favorite just based on grappling alone. You know, there's a pretty big edge, in my opinion, in the wrestling here. So yeah, what did I say? Frivola KO at plus 600. Yeah, that's where I'm going. I think it could be ground and pound. It could also be on the feet. And I know ZM, I think he's been knocked out maybe once. No, none. He's never been knocked out. But I think Vendramini fight, he got hurt pretty fucking bad in that fight. But yeah, I like Frivola here, but I also took a sprinkle on his KO. Tim, what do you got?
Already went.
Ready? Shit. All right, let's move on. But by the way, guys, I love the opinions in chat. Like, hey, everybody, we could see shit differently, and not just because I think it's one way, it's right. You know, you guys could be damn right, and I could be damn wrong. So it's good to have other opinions and what other people see, because we can miss things. I can miss things. You guys can miss things, and it helps. It helps everybody. Let's move on. Fight number 10. It is in the featherweight division. It is the 19-10-1 Morgan Charriere versus the 17-6 Gabriel Miranda. And I think Morgan Charriere is the best 19-10-1 fighter that I know of. I mean, that record, when you look at that record, you say, oh, man, this guy cannot be. He sucks. 19-10-1. But damn, when you look at this fucking guy, he's got a lot of skills, man. He's a very good counter grappler. He's very good striker. Very good speed, you know, very light on his feet, extremely athletic, good finisher. You know, everything about the guy, he's a good fighter. But yet here we're looking at this record, and it's 19-10-1. And the guy, Tim, with 30 fucking fights under his belt, he's still only 28 years old. Like, the guy is very young still. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about MMA. So the guy is still young. He's looks good, man. I mean, even in that Chepe Mariscal fight, that was a very, very close fight. I did give it to Chepe. I think it was a rightful win for him, even though I had Charriere in that fight. I do think upon rewatch, Chepe won that fight. But Charriere is a good fighter, man. He's a really good fighter, in my opinion. I know he doesn't have any great wins yet in the UFC. He's got one against a nobody. That's fine. But, you know, Gabriel Miranda, you know, he showed me something, honestly, in Benoit Saint Denis fight. When I rewatched it, I'm like, man, this guy was like, he wobbled Saint Denis in that fight. You know, he threw back and wobbled him in that first round, you know? But I kind of feel like his gas tank is very iffy. I mean, not kind of, it is iffy. I should just say that. His gas tank is definitely fucking not good at all, right? And when we started to talk about gas tank not being good, right? And you talk about a guy like Morgan Charriere who keeps coming, and he's got very, very good cardio, in my opinion, and he has multiple round 3 and round 2 finishes. You know where I'm going with this, right? It's kind of a no-brainer. Like, Miranda is dangerous early, right? He's throwing big shots. He's extremely dangerous with his jiu-jitsu, right? How many fucking subs does this guy have? Do you have it off the top of your head, Tim? Or can you look it up real quick? Because
I think
he has an insane amount of
something like that. 17, I think.
Yeah, it's insane. The amount of stuff. I mean, he's got how many wins? How many wins? 19 wins. 17 of his wins.
Yeah,
17 out of 19 is fucking subs. Think about that. This guy's a fucking very dangerous guy when it comes to the ground. But it's like, how does he get Charriere down? Charriere is extremely athletic, good takedown defense, way faster. Maybe club and sub, something like that. It could happen, I guess, technically speaking, because Charriere has been subbed once. I think it was ages ago, honestly. Holy moly, was it? Yeah, it was way long ago. He is dangerous. I don't want to take it. I know you're saying sub, Joel, and I don't blame you. I think it's like 12, 13 to 1. I can't blame you for taking that with a guy that has that many skill, that much skill on the ground. But like, I think it's round 2, round 3, to be honest, for Charriere. Like the only issue is the price, man. The price is like, they kind of know this is coming, Tim. They know this is coming. It's 370 and 700. It's like very, very, very low.
Where's 700 at?
700 is on. Actually, there is no 700. It's Betway.
550. Yeah, 550.
Which doesn't even fucking count. Betway. Maybe we can do, because I do think it's KO. He's not subbing this guy. What are we looking at KO2, KO3, Tim? 420 and there's an 850. 420, 850. Yeah. I guess that's how I'm gonna go. It's KO2, KO3, 420, 850. Wait, KO2 is round 2.
Plus 370 versus plus.
Yeah. Just play plus 370. Yeah. But KO3 at 850, I think, is better for sure. It's like,
where is that at? Where is that at?
That's on Rivers. KO3 is on Rivers. That's out there. I think that's how I would play it, just because I think there's a huge cardio edge here, like very, very big. And I think when he puts it on this guy, I think this guy might quit, to be honest. So, yeah. Charriere, KO3, Charriere, something like that at KO2 is where I'm going to go with this. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on these. The Miranda sub, if you're on Miranda sub and you're betting the 12 to 1, I would just do sub 1 plus 2,800, sub 2 plus 3,800. I don't think he's subbing him in 3. And I probably don't even think it's like, I think it's probably 2 or 2.5 minutes into round 2 that he might be able to get something. He doesn't seem to be able to fight beyond 7.5 minutes. My only concern is that Miranda can, like, he has taken some big shots from guys, and he is not a good striker at all. He's only been knocked out twice out of his losses. He's never been subbed. He's lost 6 times. So, I mean, he has been able to last with certain guys. And then you also take into effect that Morgan, if there's some knocks on him, it's that he's not crazy volume. Like, he hasn't just gone and completely ballistic on guys, and he doesn't. In this fight, I don't think it matters that, like, he's got like 8 fights that have gone to split or majority decision, like, with guys that he's better than, I think. In a lot of the fights, I'm just like, he's more skilled than these guys. He's losing a split decision, and just he just doesn't seem to, like, put stamps on rounds. So I don't think that it's going to matter in this fight, but it does make me, like, have a little bit of pause on the lines being so shitty, and then the decision prop being like plus 260, something like that. So even though I'm going to have the round 2 plus 370, round 3 KO for you, like yours, the plus 850, I would definitely take that over the 550 on round 3 for $3 more. I don't think he subs him either. So, yeah, I'm on those props as well, but I'm probably going to put, like, the decision prop in a stupid parlay as well, just to cover that base, because I could see this. I could see him winning like a clear 30-27 as well, and we're just, like, pissed off about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if he doesn't put, if he doesn't put his foot on the pedal, being in France, I think he might want to show off a little bit more. And honestly, even though he's been to decision a bunch, man, he hurts a lot of these guys, like, in a lot of these fucking fights, man. He really does. And He does like good, very good. The other thing is the body work. I think that's gonna fuck up Miranda pretty big. So yeah, let's move on. Fight number 11. It is in the welterweight division. It is the 10-2 Kevin Jousset versus the 10-2 Brian Battle. This one's yours, Tim.
This is a really good fight. I think it's a good matchup between pretty similar stylistic fighters. Brian Battle's on a pretty good streak right now, minus the Renat fight where he just got grapple fucked to death. Kevin Jousset, I don't know which style he goes with sometimes, because I think in certain fights he's, looking to use his judo. He wasn't necessarily like a primary striker, and then now he's city kickboxing and he's trying to use that a little bit more. Good leg kicks, solid boxing. I just don't know which style he's gonna necessarily go with here. Brian Battle, we know what he does. Seems to get rocked in a lot of his fights. Can fight off his back foot. Has sneaky submission game. His grappling style isn't going to be as many like body lock, judo throws, upper body shit that Jousset is going to go for. His is more kind of traditional, like American wrestling, like freestyle, and just single leg, double leg, get a little cage push and try to drop a level. So I don't know. I think that I don't know who's going to be more successful in the grappling edge, and that will be, we'll see what happens in that on that respect. But when it comes to striking, I just think that this is a crazy close fight. Like, I just think that both guys are going to have just lots of success. I think probably bigger shots probably coming from Jousset, but leg kicks are going to give Battle fucking hell. He seems to get leg kicked by everybody, like a decent amount, so that could slow his movement down. Probably the little bit of a volume edge, I think, from a boxing perspective for Battle. And then you take into effect that we're in France. So, I mean, I know that Jousset is fighting in New Zealand with city kickboxing and all that shit, but his name is Kevin Jousset. So that's anytime you get that, he's going to have the French crowd going with him. And probably, like we've seen plenty of times, these French judges are a little bit off. So even if Battle wins, I think we could see some fuckery here. So end split plus 330, Jousset split plus 800. If you like Battle side, his split is 600. But I like the end split plus 330 and the Jousset split at plus 800.
Yeah. Good matchup. I mean, really good matchup. 10-2 guys that are both primarily strikers. They can mix in takedowns. Like Jousset has very, very good judo, very good tosses. He's got really good takedown defense as well. He's not easy to take down. I do think he's the cleaner striker of the two by a good margin. I think he has the better hands. I think he has the better kicks. And one thing you mentioned is Battle gets kicked a lot, right? Fletcher landed some very big kicks, and Fletcher's really known as a calf kicker, and he made him switch stances. Kevin Jousset his calf kicks come, and you do not see them coming. I mean, they're so effortless when he throws them, and they're very hard, man. Like, he's depleting guys with these calf kicks, and a guy like Brian Battle, who's kind of flat-footed, is going to probably eat a couple of calf kicks here. Maybe switch stances. The one thing I will say is when he switched stances against Renat Fakhretdinov in round 3, he ate a right hand right up the middle that dropped him to his ass. It doesn't look like he's comfortable in the southpaw. I don't think Battle is going to be able to fight from the southpaw because he likes to throw his teeps. He loves those kicks. And the other thing is, face-to-face, Jousset was taller than him. And normally, Brian Battle is almost always the bigger guy in the cage at 170, right? It's not the case. And the reason why is both of these guys fought at 85 before. Jousset used to fight at 85, and so did Bryan Battle. So the size difference is not here anymore for Bryan Battle. You know, the fact that he can land his teeps from a mile away because he's much bigger, much longer than guys, it's not there anymore, you know. And when I look at this whole fight, I think, again, the wrong guy's favored. Like, Bryan Battle is favored off of being the guy that's kind of hyped right now, right? Because he's got all these wins in a row. He's been looking good. It's Bryan Battle. But let's peel back the onion a little bit and look at who Bryan Battle is beating, right? Like, he's beating AJ Fletcher, who's a known gasser. He's beating Gabe Green, who's kind of done. He's beating Takashi Sato, who's absolutely done. Gilbert Urbina, you know, Trayshawn Gore. Like, these wins are not really good wins, right? And I'm not saying Jousset has some like great wins. No, absolutely not. He doesn't. He doesn't have good wins. And for that fact, Bryan Battle has better wins than he does. But when I'm talking about looking at technical skills and who's the more skilled MMA fighter, right? I think it's Kevin Jousset by a good margin. The other thing that really sold me on Kevin Jousset is two things: durability and cardio, Tim. These things are very important when you're fighting a guy like Bryan Battle, because Bryan Battle, what does he do to most of his guys? He breaks them. Pace, pressure, cardio. He breaks them. They break, right? They can't keep up with his pace. But 100%, I'm pretty sure this guy can keep the pace and pressure and go the 3 rounds, no problem, right? And that's the problem for Bryan Battle in this fight, in my opinion. He's not going to be outpacing this guy. He's not going to be able to outwork this guy. And that's the issue I have for him here. Also, one last point that I noticed, because I did a lot of tape breakdown for this fight. AJ Fletcher fight, right? He got dropped. It doesn't have it in the stats. He got dropped in that fight with an elbow up close. In the clinch, AJ Fletcher landed an elbow, dropped him to a knee. Guess what? Jousset has absolutely nasty fucking elbows in the clinch, man. So when this fight gets to the clinch, and I know Battle is pretty good in the clinch, but I think Jousset is much better in the clinch. So there's like so many advantages, little advantages that I see for Kevin Jousset in this fight that I lean to his side as far as being the favorite. He should be the favorite in this fight. And yet we're here and we're looking at what price do we have right now on Kevin Jousset? Yeah, we're still at 143, 142. And quite frankly, I don't understand how it's there. You know, where are the advantages for Bryan Battle here? Where? It's not like he's a great grappler. No, he's not. It's not like he's a great striker. No, he's not. How is he winning his fights, guys? He's breaking people. You know, did he lose round 1 to Fletcher? Absolutely. Did he lose round 1 to Gilbert Urbina? Absolutely. Like, that tells you that basically what's happening is he's losing these round 1s, but he's coming back and breaking people and finishing them or just outpacing them. So for me, I don't think that's a viable option for him in this fight. Unless he hurts Jousset early and finishes him, I don't think that's a viable option for him to outpace this guy. So for me, it's Kevin Jousset. It's almost most likely a decision. I don't see Jousset really either guy finishing each other, to be honest. Jousset decision is 250. It's fine with me. Healthy number. And the other thing with Jousset is I don't think he is very like adamant for finishing. He's more of a technician. He's more about landing solidly, not landing as hard as he can. He wants to touch you. Look what he did to Kenan Song's face, man. I mean, he fucked him up bad for 3 rounds. You know, he gave him a beating. So yeah, I mean, I really feel like the price on Battle is way overblown because of who he's been beating and what he's been doing of late. But this is a different matchup for me. And I think Bryan Battle is up against it here against Jousset. Let's move on. Fight number 12. It is in the featherweight division. It is the 13-2 William Gomes versus 17-3-1, Joe Anderson, Brito, and I will kick this one off. We know William Gomes as what do we call him, Tim? He's a what?
He's a fucking weasel.
He's a weasel. So this guy fits the category of a weasel, right? William Gomes, the weasel. Now, William Gomes, the weasel, was hurt twice against Jarno Aarons, okay? William Gomes, the weasel, was almost finished against Francis Marshall. Now, William Gomes, the weasel, weaseled his way against this Gamori guy. It was a fucking low blow and they stopped the fight. It was insane. The guy said, hey, it's a low blow. Nope, fight's over. It's in France. Good night. Goodbye. Have a nice day. You know, you lost. Like, hold on a second. I got hit in the nuts. Nope. It's over, buddy. You complain, you're out. You're done. You lose. It's like the craziest thing, bro. Like, what? And then when I rewatched the Jarno Aarons fight, it's still to this day, I think Jarno Aarons won that fight. I don't know. Like those moments where he hurt him, they got to count for something. But no, it's in France and they give it to the other guy. Now, Joe Anderson Brito is a different dude, man. Like this guy's a different dude. I don't think, maybe it could happen, possibly. I don't think this guy's going to let you be a weasel, bro. Like he's just not going to let, he's so much stronger than all of these other guys he's faced, you know, first of all. Second of all, he hits like a fucking truck, man. Like if he lands on you, you're fucked. So I'm going back to the Joe Anderson Brito well of KO. If you're going to give me plus 390 on this fucker to get a KO and he hits like a damn fucking truck, then I'm going to fucking play it every time. And I don't care if it's a weasel and I don't care if it's, you know, whoever the fuck it is. But this motherfucker can KO anybody when he lands. He hits that fucking hard. So it's almost 4-1 on a guy that's favored. What is he? Minus 340. And you're giving me 4-1 on a scale? Then I'm going to fucking play it. They're overvaluing his sub now. And I'm going to take the KO at 4-1, Tim. So the weasel is going to get fucking his tail cut this week. And he's not going to be a weasel anymore after he gets knocked out. What do you have here?
I'm on the same prop. Brito by KO plus 370, KO 1 plus 950, KO 2 plus 1300. I think it's early, honestly. He usually is getting guys out. If he hits them, like if you're lasting and you're able to take his punch, then he's probably not finishing you in 3. Like, and he also does slow down in 3 in a couple of his fights. The only other prop that I would consider in this fight would be Gomes by split because he's a total weasel at 11-1. The volume, like, here's the thing. I do see. I agree with everything you said. Like, I do think that all around so many advantages for Joe Anderson in this fight, but I do see a world that like. That Gomes can just give him some fits in the beginning of just like dancing around and just not like, but just an incredibly low volume striking affair for both guys where they're just like, it's like under 35 for both guys and just like significant strikes and he just basically says, judges, give it to me. And if he can survive the early strikes from him and just like you said, weasel his way through the fight. So, you know, Gomes split, which is where I think his win condition is a split, greasy ass decision, some kind of fuckery going on with the judges at 11-1. I just think that that's a good line, kind of his win condition. But I'm with you, man. KO for Brito. I think that, you know, a lot of people are on the sub prop, as you said. I mean, he could win any way in this fight. Like he could legit win in any. I could see him winning a decision. I could see him winning by submission if he grapples hard, but at the same time, it's just like you're giving me the best odds on his KO. Doesn't seem right. So, yeah, Brito KO. Let's kill this weasel.
Yeah, I had actually a very big bet on John Silva against this guy to kill him, but he happened to weasel his way out of that one too and run away from John Silva because John Silva would have murdered this dude. No joke, he would have killed him. Brito by sub. Gomes ain't getting KO'd. Yeah, I remember when I bet Joe Anderson Brito by KO 11-1 against Andre Fili, and everybody said, no, Andre Fili is very durable. He cannot KO Andre Fili. And guess what he did? He fucking flatlined him with one
Dude,
punch.
do you know what I did? You know what I did in that fight? It was really funny. I was in Vegas for that fight, and I had Fili in a bunch of like stupid parlays, but I also bet like KO and KO, I think KO1 for Brito at the most insane odds. Like it was, I can't remember what it was, but I think it was like 28-1 or something like that for his KO1. So it was just, that was a beauty. Gotta love it.
I mean, he can KO with just about anybody. He hits very, very fucking
He's
hard.
way harder than Jarno Aarons.
I'm telling you guys, he hits extremely hard, man. If he lands, it's the thing is, if he lands, maybe he doesn't land, I don't know. But if he lands, he definitely can come. He will literally put fucking Jarno Aarons to sleep. I'm telling you guys. But yeah, let's move on here. Fight number 13. It is the co-main event of the night. It is the 14-4 Nasruddin Imavov versus 24-5 Brandon Allen. I do want to say before you start here, Tim, it was bullshit what they did to Brandon Allen. You know, he was on IG talking about it. I do want to mention it real quick. Right after the weigh-ins, he said, I literally got off the scale and started walking out. They say, hey, come with us. The French commission took him and said, hey, you need to pee right now. And he's like, wait, how do you want? I'm dehydrated. I'm dry as a bone. You want me to pee right now? Like, yep, you got to pee right now. And they made him pee. They forced him to pee. Then they're like, okay, now you got to come with us. We got to draw your blood. Do you know how fucking hard it is if you're dehydrated, dying, trying to cut weight to make weight? Now you got to draw my blood. He said they poked him once. They couldn't get enough blood, obviously, because the guy is fucking bone dry. They waited a little bit more. They did another method, poked him again, finally got some. They fucked him up. He said for 3 hours right after the weigh-in, they were doing that to him. And he said they did not do that to Imavov, and they did not do that to Benoit Saint-Denis. They only did it to Moicano and him. He said him and Moicano were both down there for 3+ hours, peeing and drawing blood, which is fucking bullshit, dude. That's horrendous what they did to them. And dude, he was so mad on his IG story, just going absolutely bunk. He's like, I fuck this place. These guys are crooked here, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm never coming back here, Brandon Allen. So it was kind of a bad story, you know, for him. But I wanted to mention it because a lot of people don't know about that. But that's what happened to them, both him and Moicano. Go ahead, Tim. This one's yours.
That's fucking crazy. So yeah, we talked pre show on this that there's a bunch of I think there's a bunch of good lines in this fight, whether or not whichever guy you like. I think there's good ways to go. If I was on Allen, I'll let you do yours, but if I was on Allen, I know what I would be going with. But I'm on the Imavov side here. I think that there's some decent advantages for him. There's some problems in this fight, obviously, for him as well. He hasn't fought a lot of grapplers. He definitely hasn't fought anybody that's as good a grappler as Brendan Allen. Another problem for Imavov is he struggles mightily to get off the cage, and he allows guys to cage push him and just hold him there multiple minutes in fights. Not super high volume. So why am I on Imavov? Well, I'm on Imavov because I feel like he's in France. I feel like he's got significantly more a significant striking edge in this fight. Power, more technicality. Maybe he's a little bit lower volume, but I just feel like, and the hardware is way better. Like he was taking shots from Cannonier that I just don't think that Brendan Allen could take. Brendan Allen got the KO versus Chris Curtis that's not bad. He fought through that. But the KO versus Sean Strickland, who's shown that he doesn't get anybody out of there really, and he's just a decisionator in a lot of these fights. That was a bad look to me. So I like Imavov by decision, plus 230. I don't hate ends by split decision or Imavov by split decision at plus 750 and plus 450 for just end split. I do think it's possible he could get cage pushed, as I said, or even lose half of a round, maybe getting taken down or maybe a back take, and then that's just a round versus Brendan Allen. Interesting to see how the wrestling does go in this fight. I can't wait to see that. Actually, I do think that it's an edge for Brendan Allen, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I think Imavov's pretty physical, and he looks like he's taking all the vitamins that he can take legally, or illegally. But yeah, give me Imavov by decision, Imavov by split, and split plus 230, plus 750, plus 450. How about you?
Yeah. For me, I'm going on the opposite side. I like Imavov. I've bet him quite a bit actually in my career, like betting, Imavov. And he's done well for me. Listen, I think the guy is a very, very skilled striker, especially at this weight class. Like, he's very, very loose, very, very fast. So I like the guy a lot. He's made me a decent amount of money, and he's looked really good, especially of late, against Cannonier. The problem is, that's kind of like an older Cannonier, not the Cannonier that we possibly would see earlier on, but it's still a very good win. Him finishing Cannonier there was a good win. The problem is it was, for me, was kind of like the Roman Delice fight. He didn't look great in that fight, right? Like, Delice, that's a guy, Tim. What is he good at?
Nothing.
Not a good wrestler.
Nothing.
He's not a good striker. What the fuck is he good at? Leg locks and knee bars? Like, literally, that's the only thing he's good at. So, that look there for me wasn't a great look, right? When we look at the Delice fight, it's not a great look. Now, Delice's wrestling is shit. It really is. And he went 0-4 in that fight. And quite honestly, he probably shouldn't have been a majority decision. I don't even know how they got to that, right? But still, like the thing is, and I mentioned this to you earlier, I look at Imavov's career and I come away saying, who has he faced that's a very good grappler, right? Phil Haas? Yeah, sure. Phil Haas has good wrestling. Guess what? He lost that fight to Phil Haas, right? But does Phil Haas has jiu-jitsu? No. Not a good jiu-jitsu guy. That's the thing that Brandon Allen brings to the table here. Yeah, was the Strickland, was the Curtis fight close? Sure, Curtis hurt him. Curtis, it's hard, right? Curtis hurt him. Back and forth war, right? But you know what I was impressed with him? 6 fucking takedowns against Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis is not an easy guy to take down. And he took him down 6 times, man. And you know why that is, Tim? It's because Curtis was afraid of the striking as well. Because Brandon Allen can strike too, right? So not only did he have to worry about the striking, he's like, oh, fuck. Now he's mixing in takedowns. And that opened up the takedowns for Brandon Allen. And, Imavov has to worry about the same shit here. It's not just the striking Imavov has to worry about, right? Yeah, is Imavov the better striker? Sure. But he still has to worry about Brandon Allen striking. It's not like he's a bum in the striking. But then when he mixes in the takedowns, it opens up the striking. And when it, opens up his striking, it opens up his take. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a hard guy to fight because he can mix both things on you. And I know Imavov is not a bad grappler. I don't think he's a bad grappler. But Brandon Allen is the much better jiu-jitsu guy here. It's not even close, right? And I think he's the better wrestler as well, to be honest. So when you're going to give me plus 700 sub on a guy like Brandon Allen, who we've seen historically can sub just about anybody, right? When we're talking about high-level guys, he's subbed, right? And the high-level guy I'm talking about that he subbed is Andre Muniz, right? He basically broke him and subbed him, right? And then other guys that he subbed that, are tough to sub. And a guy like Jotko, who's, I think he probably never been subbed Jotko outside of the Allen one, right? The guy's fought a lot of people, and Allen's only, what does that tell you? Allen has good fucking submission skills. And so 7-1 on a guy that's the better jiu-jitsu guy by a good margin, in my opinion, and there's going to be probably some grappling and scrambling and shit like that. I took a shot, man. I just think the line's way, way too wide here for a guy that's just probably levels above in jiu-jitsu, to be honest. So yeah, plus 700 for me by submission for Brandon Allen. All right, main event time, 14 or 13 fights. This is the 14th one. Guys, 428 of you in here. Please hit the like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, guys. And also my Discord link is down below, Dub Club. When you sign up for Dub Club, it's $25 a month. You get all my picks. You also get access to my Discord. Make sure you put in your Discord name so you can get into the Discord, dude, because it's really important. We live bet. We do all kinds of shit in there. We've been smashing NFL. I've hit 3 games in a row, ladders on receivers for a shit ton of money in each one. So, yeah, I mean, boxing, it's been going really, really good lately. So, if you guys haven't been in there, join my Dub Club. Link is down below. I would appreciate it if you hit the like, subscribe to the channel as well. With that being said, fight number 14, it is in the lightweight division. It is the 19-5-1 Renato Moicano versus the 13-2 Benoit Saint Denis. And I was going back and forth on this fight because, for one, I kind of feel like the line's a bit wide, right? Because I feel like Moicano has faced just about everybody. Like, the guy has faced really good guys. Rafael Dos Anjos, Fiziev, Korean Zombie, Aldo, Cater, Ortega, you name it. I mean, this guy's faced a lot of good people. Jalen Turner, last time out, was he dropped? Sure, but did he finish? Yes. And the guy's dangerous when it hits the mat, man. Like, he's just super good on the ground. And mainly, historically, with BSD, his path is to get the fight to the ground and dominate, right? Now, I do think there's a strength advantage here quite significantly for Benoit Saint Denis, which might give Renato a lot of problems. And I think that's the main issue here, right, for Moicano. Like, on the feet, I might actually lean Moicano. He might be the better striker of the two, right? But then when you talk about the hardware edge, right, the toughness of one guy compared to the other, I lean on BSD. And I know this is going to be a little different probably than what a lot of people think. But when I did more tape on this, at first I'm like, man, does BSD have like shit cardio? But then when you watch that ass kicking he took for 3 rounds, right? And he was still fucking throwing like a madman in round 3, trying to get a KO or trying to at least do something for himself, right? It kind of impressed me, to be honest. That takes a lot of fucking cardio to survive all that shit that he took and still be throwing back in round 3, you know? So I feel like this is a fight where the physicality is going to get to Moicano. I feel like BSD round 2, 3, and 4 is where I'm going to go here, because it could be a couple of things, Tim. It could be from just a plain old beating. He's just beating him too much. He's cut open. He's busted open. It's going to be stopped. Or it's just going to be one of those where he's just going to be way stronger and just kind of like whenever he wants to ragdoll him, get him to the ground and just kind of smash. Even though he has great jiu-jitsu, when someone's way stronger, he could just smash him. And BSD has jiu-jitsu himself. So for me, the lines are not great, but it's 470 for round 2. It's 850 for round 3. And then it's 1,400 for round 4. I kind of feel like that's the path where BSD is probably going to just break this guy. And strength advantage is going to come into play, in my opinion, in a big way. But I love Moicano. You know, if he wins, it's probably a sub, honestly, where this guy makes a mistake. You know, he's grappling. And I've seen, by the way, let's make it clear, this guy makes a ton of mistakes in his regional tape. He's been reversed a bunch of shit. So if anybody's playing like, you know, Moicano sub, I haven't even looked at it. What is it? Oh, it's not a good price. Wow.
It's awful.
Yeah, I can't believe that price. It's almost like his money line. Yeah, I wouldn't play that. Just play his money line then. But yeah, I mean, this guy makes a lot of mistakes on the ground. He's over aggressive, and you can't kind of do that against a guy like Moicano. But I just think he's gonna break him, to be honest, with probably ground and pound, even body kicks on the feet. They're nasty, man. So yeah, BSD 2, 3, 4 for me here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of your takes here. I feel like the striking, technical striking, just a technical fight in general. I think Moicano is a better technical fighter, just in a lot of realms. There's not a ton of technicality on BSD, and he's just very, very physical. Loses positions in jiu-jitsu with way, way worse guys than Moicano. Can be taken down, as we saw versus Frivola last fight. Don't really know. I know that he did come back in the Dos Santos fight in round 3, but like, I don't know that his cardio, the only place where I would kind of like not disagree, but just like be like, I just don't know, is 5-round fights. And like, can he do what he does in round 4 and round 5? Like we will see it. Obviously it will potentially, we might see it in this fight, but what if Moicano gets him down? Like, I just feel like there's a possibility that he could even get him down in this fight. I don't think that Moicano is I just think that he's solid wrestler. I think he's a much better jiu-jitsu practitioner. I feel like his striking, I mean, dude, he beat Calvin Kattar in a 15-minute striking fight. Like, he made Kattar try to shoot takedowns in that fight. Like, he was beating his ass striking. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like a unanimous decision. I think it was 30-27 on maybe 2, maybe even all 3. Like, I just don't think that he's, a lot of people are like, oh, he's, sub or bust in this one. I don't think he's sub or bust. I think if he can keep the fight standing, I think it's really, really close. I do agree with you. The body kicks are going to be there all day. He's got a huge torso. Southpaw versus orthodox, it's going to be there all day. I do also feel that Saint Denis, his hands aren't that huge. Like, I think his kicks are his best strikes in his game. So I'm going a totally different route. Like, I think it's if BSD doesn't get him like out early in rounds 1 through 3, I think it's a decision for BSD here. Plus 800. I think it also could be close. So if you want to get super, super greasy, if a fight is close and it's not having a bunch of grappling, where a bunch of top time for BSD and Moicano is able to either scare him with some jiu-jitsu on the ground or just be able to keep it on the feet. Dude, ends by split is plus 1,600 and Benoit Saint Denis split is 22 to 1. I mean, how many times do we see these 5-round fights that a judge is on peyote or like tick shrooms before the fight and we don't know what the fuck happened? So that's one of the biggest at this weight class, one of the biggest ends by split decisions I've ever seen. So BSD by points and maybe sprinkle a little bit. I might sprinkle a little bit on the end split 16 to 1 and 22 to 1 for him.
There could definitely be fuckery here. I mean, it's in France.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of, people say, I've seen shady. The shady decision was Cornolle against Edwards was shady. I also think the Gomes, I mentioned it, Gomes against Aarons. I think Aarons won that fight. There's definitely been judging there. That's definitely, I already talked about the shadiness from the weigh-ins. That's fucking disastrous, man. Shady. So yeah. I mean,
Moicano split
Moicano's a good fighter. I think he's a good fighter. It's just that which fight kind of bothered me more than all of them? How he got really kind of grapple fucked, and it was the RDA fight, man. It's just the physicality there. It's like, man, that was such a terrible look.
I still have PTSD for my late round props on RDA that fight.
Yeah, forget about it. I think he was too nice to him or something. Anyways, all 14 fights, got through them all. Time for Lambo parlays. We've been going for almost 2 hours. Let's finish this up. All right, I'm going to give mine real quick. Mine's a nice small one and nothing crazy. It's Oki KO, Jousset decision, and Brito KO. It's 35-1. Nice and easy, nothing crazy. That's how I'm going to go with my Lambo parlay this week. 35-1. I'm fine with it. Decent number. Tim, what do you have?
I have Morgan 2-3 round robin with Sai 2-3, but I was thinking about switching it out to Urslan 2-3 with Morgan 2-3. What do you feel, and what does the crew feel on that one? I know you I know you probably Urslan more, right?
Yeah, I would go Urslan. The only problem is I do think that Urslan, because I think that Urslan fight ends in round 1. I just feel like it's a clash of styles, and when I look at them stylistically, I think they're just going to bang in round 1. But if it happens where, they bang and this guy lands a takedown, it could extend. And I think if it extends, it's going to favor Urslan. I just think he has better cardio. So.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Urslan 2-3, Morgan 2-3 with that one. But I'm also going to play Urslan round 1, round 2 with Morgan 2-3, or maybe even do Morgan 1-2 with him as well, just to cover both of those, just in case he does knock him out, and then you hope that it's round 2 and you cash both. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I think that's a better way to go. So I'll do that Urslan Morgan 2-3, and then I'll probably blend in the KO1, KO2 for both of them on FanDuel just to cover the round 1 for both, just in case.
All right. 14 fights, 2 Lambo parlays. Thank you to everybody that's here. 438 of you. Appreciate you guys so damn much. Please hit the like. Again, subscribe. Tim, any parting words for our crew here?
Nope. No longer need TP for my bunghole. We're good. We're good to go.
All right. Early card tomorrow. It is 12 o'clock by me, 3 o'clock Eastern. Early card. That's good. Good luck, everybody. One last thing. Let's cash those tickets.